Hello, my name is Bill Hullett. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. Since you found this YouTube video, I'm going to presume that you might be considering doing some recording in the near future, and you may even be considering coming to Nashville to do that recording. Over the next few minutes, I'd like to outline some of the reasons why I think it would be to your advantage to come to Nashville, and maybe give you an idea of how we could best help you do that. To introduce myself to you, I've been a session guitar player in town for the past 30 years, and I've owned my own recording studio for the past 20 years. I've been blessed to play on a bunch of great records during my tenure here in Nashville. Some of the first sessions I got to do were with people like Marty Robbins, Merle Haggard, George Jones, Tammy Wynette, Vern Gosdin. Later in the 80s, when I started putting my own studio together, I got heavily involved in doing some developmental projects with what would become great artists themselves. People like Trisha Yearwood, Garth Brooks, Brooks and Dunn. Later in the 90s, I went on to play on records by Pam Tillis, Radney Foster, Leroy Parnell, Martina McBride, and after that, I did about a 3-year stint on TNN on a nightly show called Music City Tonight. There we backed up literally everybody in town, or even people that just came through town. We backed up Reba McEntire, Aaron Neville, Chet Atkins, Waylon Willie, Crystal Gale, you name it, they were there. By the year 2000 rolled around, if you have any children, you're probably very aware of what I was doing. I got involved in starting a series of records called Kids Bop. It kind of became iconic. They're in volume 14 now. It used up most of my time for 4 or 5 years there until I finally decided to hand it off to someone else. But enough about that. I'd like to get started talking about how we could best help you in you coming to Nashville and doing something. Now to talk about your project. I'm sure you're trying to weigh out in your mind which would be better for you, to record a project in your hometown with people you know, or whether to come to Nashville and do a project. I can assure you of one reality. Either place you do your project, at some point in the future, once it's done, you'll find yourself back in Nashville, knocking on doors, ringing people's offices, trying to get those all-important meetings with someone that'll help kick your career up a notch. You know, whether you're a songwriter, whether you're a would-be artist, or a combination of both, you will be back in Nashville, meeting with publishers, management groups, record labels, so you're going to want your project done well. I just underlined the importance of having to have your project sound the best that it can sound. And one thing I want to point out to you, the appointments that you're going to be seeking are few and far between, and they're difficult to get, and they're usually very short appointments, 20 or 30 minutes. And the last thing that you want to do is to have a poorly done project to where someone's sitting in the office fanning through your songs, and while you're trying to make a great first impression on this person, you're actually having to apologize for the quality of your product. And sad to say, you're probably trying to interest them in yourself as a singer or yourself as a songwriter, and in reality, the quality of the project shouldn't really matter, because they should be listening to your vocal or your song content. But the reality of it is they're barraged with material day and night that's done here in town that is of A-plus quality, and they just get very used to hearing the very best. And you really need to put your best foot forward, which brings me to the point that I'd like to make with you, and it was actually the whole purpose of doing this video. I would really encourage you to come to Nashville to do your recording. And I'm not trying to put any disrespect to anyone else out there that does it somewhere else. It's just that we really are at an advantage here in town. We've all done it 24/7 for the past 20 or 30 years. All the people I use in the studio could rattle you off a list of hit records and artists they've worked with, just like I did earlier in the tape. And it's very much to your advantage to come to town, get locked in with some professionals, and do it right. And surprisingly, at least in my case, I think we can be very reasonable in the price we charge. I really want to discuss this quality issue with you. You know, up till now, I'm sure that your biggest competition has been bands that play in your area. And you have to understand, when you come to Nashville, immediately your competition becomes the people who you've listened to making records. Everyone in town that's ever had a deal is now your competition. So it's really important that you have a project that sounds incredibly good. Whether it be just a well-done guitar vocal demo, or whether it's a full-fledged record, all of it has to be done to really high standards. In closing, you'll see some credits roll across, phone number to contact me, and email address. I would strongly encourage you to get a hold of me. I'd like to hear the specifics of your project and exactly what you need, and I'd be happy to sit down and talk to you about it and quote you a price, and I'm sure that we could come out with a budget that you could afford and something that you would be delighted with in the end when the project was done. I certainly thank you for your time that you've taken watching this video, and I hope to see you in the near future. And whether I do or not, I wish all the success for you in your musical ventures. Thanks.